good evening. This month I wanted to do something a little bit fun, something that I've kind of had an idea for. Well, it's not my idea technically, like, whatever. I'm just gonna keep talking. It's like been on the back burner for me, and so I decided to implement it for this month, the month of July. And it's gonna be a 5-star predictions video. So I've got 5 books here, 5 books for 5 stars. Like, I'm kind of a genius, you guys wanna get it. But I've got 5 books here that I think are gonna be 5 stars on Goodreads, based on like my own personal judgments and ratings and whatever. And so I will introduce these books, and then I'm probably gonna do like check-ins after I finish each book. And I might do like a wrap-up of every book at the end, not sure yet, but that's probably how I'm gonna do it. The first book is Call Baby by Morgan Jerkins. This book has been on my to-read list for like a very long time, and it is on my 2024 TBR. And so how I came to get this book is a very fun story. So I was in Dollar Tree and I was getting candles, and I was strolling down the aisles, as one does in the Dollar Tree, and I turned my head, and like literally I don't know what I was looking for other than candles. I was looking for poster tack is what it was. And I was in the aisle with all like the, you know, stationery and all that. And then to my right was the books, and I didn't even register them at first. And then I saw this book, and I was like, they have Call Baby here for $1.25. So I, like, with quickness and haste, put it into my cart. I also got Truth of the Divine and Axiom's End. I said those backwards. Those are Lindsay Ellis's books. And I also got, which one is it? The Blade Between. So I got 4 books in that little haul. And so I'm very excited to read this one. Next one is Kim Ji-young, born 1982, by Chu Nam-ju. This one I've heard like nothing but good things from friends and reviewers who I trust. So I am very excited about this one. I haven't read any, like I didn't read the synopsis, but I did read reviews of this one. So I think it will be something that is like very, very much to my liking. And, well, obviously it's on the 5-star predictions. But yeah, that's why this one's here. I go into most of my books, like the books that I read, blind. I know sort of what this one's about, just because I read a review that was very spoilery of it. But for this one, I don't like know anything about, so I'm very excited about this one. Next one is In the Dream House by Carmen Maria Machado. And this one, I have literally heard the most glowing reviews about this book from everyone who I've ever seen review this book, read a review about this book, completely glowing, 5 stars. So this book I am like 99% certain is going to be a 5-star. If it's not, I'll be very, very, very disappointed. Like more than any of these books, I'll be disappointed if this one's not a 5-star. This one is a memoir, so it's my non-fiction of the pick. And again, I've only heard good things about it, so excited for this one. The next is Death Valley by Melissa Broder. The way I heard about this one is actually through the Goodreads giveaways that I entered. I didn't win this one. I did purchase it. Clearly it's in my hands. But when it was automatically added to my want to read shelf, and then when I was going through my, like, I was bulk removing things either that I didn't win or that just didn't look interesting to me, bulk removing them from that shelf, because like I entered over 1,000. So obviously there was going to be so many books on that list that I wasn't actually planning on reading. This one actually looked interesting to me because like I love the cover of this book. I love the colors of it, just like that. I guess maybe you'd call this eggshell, or it's the lighting here makes it look more yellow, but I think in better lighting it looks more like an ecru. I don't know why I'm going into the coloring of this, but I love the pink and green. I think that's a great color combo. I just love this whole ordeal. I think it's so freaking cute. I don't know why I'm so compelled by it, but I freaking love that. I have no idea what this book is about. I didn't read any synopsis, no reviews on this one. This one is a new release this year, so I haven't like heard anything about this book. So I'm super, super excited to read this one. And then lastly is Brat by Gabrielle Smith. I have a very fun, interesting story about how I learned about this one. So when Charli XCX first revealed like the Brat album cover and like the name of Brat, in the replies of that tweet, Smith was like posted a reply and he was like, Charli literally told me that she named Brat after this book. And I was like, okay, slay, that's such good marketing. I'm gonna read this book. So I am super excited about this one. I did read synopsis on this one, and it's a horror. Horror is like quickly becoming one of my favorite genres. And so if this book is like well executed horror, I am so excited to read it. Also, I have sort of maybe another video planned that's gonna be horror based. So I'm super freaking excited for that one too. I don't believe I have anything else to say. I will check back in. Oh, I actually do. The first book I will be reading is Call Baby, because this one's been on my list for the longest, my TBR for the longest, and it's on my 2024 TBR. But I will check back in once I am finished reading this one, give my thoughts on it. Other than that, I don't think I have anything else to say. Okay, so I just finished Call Baby. I really loved this book. I probably wouldn't put it as a 5-star, unfortunately. It's leaning more 4.5. Probably will make it a 4.5 because I really loved the ending. But the beginning, like, I would really say up until the second half, which is where I finished my first read, the writing wasn't really strong enough for me to give it a full 5-star. But I love this book. It had a lot of the elements that I love in when I'm reading books. Number one, magical realism. That's my number one favorite genre. Number two, like elements of generational, like mothers and daughters. That's up there when I'm looking for books to read. I love books about that. The book I'm writing right now, if it ever gets finished, that's what that book's about. And another one of my favorite books, The Vanishing Half. That book, I would say these books are pretty similar, Vanishing Half and Call Baby. And I just really enjoyed this book. I'm not gonna do any I might do a full review of it in the wrap up, but I'm not gonna review it like a spoiler review right now. But I thought it was really, really well done, especially like I said, that second half. Where things started to pick up, and the writing wasn't, it's like, so the first part of this book, because it's split into part 1, part 2, it was a lot of exposition, and the exposition wasn't really that gracefully told, so that's why it's not all the way up there as a 5-star for me. But yeah, I think this book was really, I'm talking so fast right now. This book was really good, and I would definitely recommend it, even though it's not a full 5-star. Obviously, it's a 4.5-star, that's a recommend. For sure. So if you're looking for a book to read, I'll pick this one up. Before I forget to do this, next book I'm moving on to is Kim Ji-young, Born 1982. And super excited about this one. It's very short, so it should be a very quick read for me. Probably will get through this in a day. I'll probably get this finished by tomorrow. But very excited about this book. Okay, I just finished Kim Ji-young, and I really liked it. Yeah. Unsurprisingly, that's probably going to be my thoughts on most of these. I wouldn't say it's a 5-star. I'm leaning more of it's just a solid 4. Just because of the prose style. It's a translated book, which I'm not saying that the prose in translated books can't be really good. One of my favorite books, well, not one, multiple of my favorite books are translated. It's just that the writing in this was not so... just not to the point where I would give it a 5-star. That's basically what I'd say. The ending was very conflicting for me, and I might talk about that later when I do a wrap-up for this video. But I thought it was very interesting. Definitely not what I was expecting for the ending either, though I didn't not like it. I don't have a whole lot to say about this book. If you like feminist literature, I would pick this one up for sure. Other than that, I'll probably leave my rest of my thoughts for the end of the video. Before I forget, the next book that I'm reading is In the Dream House by Carmen Maria Machado. And this one's a memoir. I thought I would throw the memoir in the middle. So I'm really excited about this one. Again, I've heard nothing but praise about this book. Literally every single person who I follow on Goodreads, follow on YouTube, who's read this book has given it 5 stars. So if this isn't 5 stars, I will be shocked. Pardon the wet hair, I just got out of the bath. I think we have our first 5 star of the video. Just finished In the Dream House, and it was fabulous. Like, it really, like, so different from what I was expecting. And just the style it was written, and not really the content. I knew what the book was about, but in the style it was written and the voice throughout, it was fabulous. And you know my arbitrary scale of, is this a good memoir or is this a good nonfiction book, of is it as good as The Year of Magical Thinking? And this book meets that scale. So yes, my first 5 star read of the video. Loved this book. Always forget to update on what I'm reading next. I'm gonna read Death Valley by Melissa Broder next. So I'm excited to get into this one. It's very short. It probably won't take me very long. Okay. So I'm just doing a little check-in because I started Death Valley by Melissa Broder. And let's just say it's not going to be a 5 star. The writing is just like kind of insufferable. So the style is a mix of humor and like this like introspective, deep type whatever that really isn't working for me. Number one, the humor just isn't funny to me. I'm not saying it wouldn't be funny for someone else, clearly, because humor is subjective, but it's got a lot of like parentheticals, and it'll be like something like, I went on Reddit and saw this, and then it would be like parenthetical, and then some crazy thing that a Reddit user said, and it does that like every paragraph. There's like a different parenthetical, and it's like really interrupts the flow of the writing. And I already said I didn't find it funny, so it's not helping in that aspect. And then there's also like, so this book is just like classic adult contemporary lit fic, right? So it's not like a thriller or historical or anything like that, or magical realism. It's just adult contemporary lit fic, which is fine. I don't dislike adult contemporary, but it's just, there's not a lot going on. It's just a lady, and she's just doing life stuff. And the main character is so fucking insufferable. Like, it's like she thinks that she's experiencing something new to herself, but she's just experiencing regular human emotions. And it's annoying. It's annoying. I'm like, can't just go to therapy. But it's like the main character thinks that she's too, I don't know. She's like, I can't go to therapy, or like, I can't fix myself because I need to constantly be in this bad state. I'm like, you're annoying. I don't want to read this. Oh my gosh, and it's awful. And I just had to put the book down because I read this line where it was, I woke up feeling manic, in parentheses, good manic. And I just don't think that this book's going to be for me. I'm going to give it about 30 more pages. Let's see how far I am into it. I'm on page 50, or around page 50. So I'll give it to about page 100. And if it doesn't work for me then, because I should be getting to the action by page 100. This is a very short book. So if I'm not to the action by page 100, or nothing substantial has happened by page 100, I'm DNFing this book. It's simply not good enough for me to keep holding on to. So that's fun. Okay, so I think I figured something out. I really hate books about writers. Like, if the main character is a writer, I'm probably not going to like the book. Or I'll take that back, right? Because obviously, if the main character's a writer, there's a lot of different factors in it. But if the book is about a writer, like, and their experience writing a book, I'm probably not going to write the book. Number one, it's kind of boring. I had the same issue with Yellowface, which was not necessarily a bad book, but I thought it was kind of, I don't know. It got too much into the ins and outs and nitty gritty of, the publishing industry. And if you're not in the industry, it's not all that interesting, right? And I also don't love books that use the internet as a, not as a plot device. Well, I mean, Yellowface definitely used it as a plot device, but rely on the internet so heavily, because the internet's ever changing. Shit goes, it's different all the time. So I just don't love that. This book, I'm talking about Death Valley right now. I got about 40 pages more into where I'm at. And this book talks about Reddit all the time. And I'm like, that's fine, right? It's not necessarily a sin to mention the internet, because we all, or most, use the internet in our daily lives, right? So it would make sense, especially if you're writing an adult contemporary, that you would mention the internet. But to the point where it's in every single, not every single paragraph, but all throughout, every single chapter has the internet, or she's on FaceTime, or she's calling someone, and it's just, number one, not a whole lot is going on in the book. This book is, it's very, very boring. This book is mostly about the main character, who, I don't think we know her name, I don't really know, but it's essentially about her dad, and her husband, both who are sick and or dying. And whatever, that's fine, but there's not a whole lot being said at the moment. It's just a bunch of the same scenes repeating themselves, and so I'm not totally loving it. Seriously, it'll be okay, so she goes out into the desert, she's on a hike, and then she'll come back and she'll be on FaceTime with her dad or with her husband, and then she's at the Best Western desk talking to whoever's working the front desk, and then she'll be on a hike, and then she'll be on FaceTime with her dad. I'm like, what? Seriously? So yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I probably won't, I'll probably DNF the book. I said I'm gonna give it to about page 100, so I've got about 10 pages left. And really, yeah, if it keeps going with the same way that it has been, chances are I'm not going to be finishing this one. It'll probably be a DNF. I decided to just DNF Death Valley because I was like, I am not enjoying it, and how much do I think it's going to improve in 10 pages? I just really didn't think it was gonna change all that much in 10 pages. So I just decided to DNF. I'll probably give it a 1 star if I decide to rate it. Maybe a 2 star, but because it's a DNF, I don't really count those in my rankings. I really wanted to get into Brat because there's only 1 day left in this month, and I was really hoping to get this video done by the end of the month. So I'm gonna start Brat tonight and hopefully have it done by the end of tomorrow night. This one's a little bit longer, but hopefully it moves quick paced because it's a horror. I'm hoping that it's, you know, a little bit quicker paced than that last one that I was reading where nothing happened. Oh, go see. Okay, that's basically the only update that I wanted to give. So I started Brat last night. I was going to read more this morning, but I accidentally slept in because I hit stop instead of snooze on my alarm, which is always fun. I love when I do that. So I'm really enjoying it so far. I love the style of it. It's got very short, to the point writing. The chapters are very short. It's sort of like staccato-y, I would say, which I really enjoy. And what else was I gonna say? I had a thought about it last night. Oh, it's a lot quicker paced, which I'm happy about. I'm very happy that I'm enjoying this one, especially with the letdown of the last book. So I'm glad that this one is not letting me down, or at least so far, you know. An ending can make or break a book, but so far it's been good, and so fingers crossed that it keeps up. Like I said, I enjoy the style. I swear there was one more thing that I wanted to say about it. Maybe I will remember what I wanted to say when I do another check-in. For now, that's all. I finished Brat. Right now I'm making muffins because I want muffins. I finished it with like due time to spare because I go to bed at 10 each night after I take my meds. And I was like, I really hope I have time to make muffins this evening, and I did. That's not what this is about. This is about whether I liked Brat or not, and the answer to that is I did. I'm just like, whoa, all over the place. I really liked it. It was definitely a 5-star. Like, I'm debating putting it in best books I've ever read, which is my favorite shelf on Goodreads. Yes, okay. In my favorite shelf on Goodreads because I liked it that much. I thought it was so fantastic. Just the right amount. I haven't decided whether I'm going to put it there or not. I'd like to give it some time before I do. That shelf is becoming really congested at the moment because I just like really like things. But I loved the book. Like really, truly, deeply loved it. So there's not a whole lot more I'm going to say. I'm planning on writing up my thoughts on all the books and recording tomorrow night, which is August 1st. So I did finish this within the time frame that I was hoping for. And I put together a little TBR for August, which I'll probably introduce in the next one. It's not for the video I'm planning. I will say what video I am planning. I'm planning on doing a stop the video when I find a 5-star read, but I need to, and it's going to be like a horror edition, but I need to actually get more horror books in my shelves, so, and I need money for that, so I'm waiting before I do that one. It'll probably come in September, and hopefully I have the Tearsmith video out next month in August. So that's what my plans are for upcoming videos. And I'll check in with you once I'll check in with you later, basically. This is going to be the end of the video wrap-up of all the books that I read. I'm going to be eating and also zining because it's dinner time and I'm working on a zine right now and I don't have a lot of time in the evenings. Tux, this is not for you. So I'm going to work on my zine while I do this video because it's the only time I have to do it. Okay. So, the first book that I read this month was Call Baby. I think it's a pretty solid 4.5. The beginning just wasn't really strong enough for me to give it a full 5 stars. I didn't dislike the beginning, it's just like, there was a lot of exposition, and I don't think all of that was done all that gracefully. Oh, I hope I don't fuck this up. You could tell that the first part was written to sort of like just serve the narrative of the second part and what like the quote-unquote real story was in the second part. I thought it could have been done just a little bit better. The writing was sort of clunky, a little bit show, don't tell. No, a little bit tell, don't show. Just on that part, because in the second part it improved itself. The second part was super strong, though. The writing, like I said, it tightened itself up, and it was a page turner. Not in the sense that it was like a thriller page turner, but the story was just so compelling that you didn't want to put it down. I mentioned in like my very first like little vlog check-in part that I loved like the key aspects and elements or like the theme of this book. I love books about families, especially like matriarchal families that span multiple generations. I compared it initially to The Vanishing Half, and I think that comparison stands in like the aforementioned reason. Like, don't go into this book and expect something like all that similar to Vanishing Half, like plot-wise, but like theming-wise, I think it was pretty accurate. I loved the ending of this book. Everything that I mentioned, the ending just cemented that, right? An ending can make or break a novel. In this, it really just made it that much better. Oh my god, Tux. The second book that I read was Kim Ji-young, born 1982. If you like feminist lit or are looking for like a feminist book, go ahead and pick this one up because you will enjoy it. This is good. It's cold. Culver's chicken tender. So good. Culver's is the greatest thing that America has ever done. Like, I don't care about anything else that America has ever done. Like, Revolutionary War, who cares? Civil War, who cares? I mean, that one was pretty important, but it was only important because we messed up in the first half. I don't care about any of that, right? Like, only thing I care about, Culver's. Yep. Best food ever. Except my mom's lasagna. I don't like the fries cold, but the cheese curds cold? Yes, please. And of course the chicken tenders cold is good too. Kim Ji-young. There will probably be some light spoilers for this part, so go ahead and skip ahead if you are interested in reading this one and you don't want it to be spoiled. This book is about the titular character Ji-young, and it starts off super strong. Like, the beginning is so compelling that I did not want to put the book down as soon as I read that first chapter. So you jump in, and you read that first chapter, and it's like, whoa, and then it immediately, like, cuts, and begins to tell you about, from the beginning of her life, about Ji-young's life so far. So as I mentioned, the book is, like, feminist, and it's, like, a very important piece of literature for, like, the feminist movement, the 4B movement in Korea. And so a lot of the elements of this book, like, they kind of parallel, like, not kind of, they do parallel elements of feminism in the West, but it's also, like, very much a South Korean feminist 4B book. The tone of this book is, like, very clinical. I don't know. We'll just start out and we'll go from there. It's very clinical, and it was kind of, like, confusing to me why it was so clinical, because I was like, how does this relate to, like, what we were in the beginning? Like, spoiler here, So in the beginning, the very first chapter, Ji Young is essentially like having a psychotic episode, or like everyone around her is saying she's crazy, right? And so I was like, how does this fit in with what we were already reading prior to this? Like, in the story of Ji Young's life, there's lots of like footnotes about feminism and like just like the gender disparity in South Korea. And I was like kind of confused, but then when you get to the final chapter, it makes a lot of sense. Because the perspective that it's being told from is like, how do I say this? The lens is like shifted. So the ending reveals that this book is essentially written, quote unquote, by a psychiatrist who has been treating Ji Young. And this doctor, he's a male doctor, right? And he's the one who is like recounting the story of Ji Young's life. He remarks like sort of casually about like all the sexism that Ji Young has faced in her life in this last chapter, but it ends, like the actual ending of the book is this doctor remarking that his old assistant is having to leave her job because she's pregnant, and she has to take care of the baby, because who else is going to take care of the baby, right? And that the next assistant that he hires should be unmarried. Like, he's like, the next one should be unmarried because I can't go losing assistants all the time when they get knocked up. It's like a really unsatisfying ending, but it is the perfect ending for this book. Like, if you read it, you'll be like, yeah, of course. I don't have a whole lot more to say on like my thoughts of it. It just like really tells its story well. I had it initially as a 4-star, but I'm thinking I might bump it up to a 5-star, or like at least a 4.5 after giving myself some time like away from this and like some space to think on it more. I think it's closer to a 5 than it is a 4, so it might not be a full 5-star, but it's definitely not just like a straight 4. Go ahead, let your head down. This looks like an egg. Okay. Next book that I read was In the Dream House by Carmen Maria Machado. I just like simply don't have a lot to say about nonfiction books. Like, when I read them, I'm like, yeah, that's a book that I read. It's not that I like don't think that it was well done or well executed. I just like when a book is like nonfiction, especially a memoir, like it's recounting someone's life, and it's just very difficult for me to have anything to say. I'm like, yeah, these are things that like actually happened, so what more am I gonna say about it? It's definitely a 5-star. Like, that is no contest. I should have used wheel paint, but then it would have never dried. The writing really surpassed my expectations. It is so stylistically different than what I was expecting. It's written in fragments, and like the quote-unquote story like that Machado was telling, like that she's recounting, is like scattered throughout with musings within. There's a great use of second person, and like we all know that I love second person, so I like thought that was really well done. Again, I don't really have a lot to say other than I thought it was good, and if you are looking for a memoir to read, I think that you should pick this one up. Next book that I read was Death Valley by Melissa Broder, and I DNF'd this one. Like, I think I DNF'd it like 30-something%, like not even, I didn't even get to halfway through this book. The writing was just so painfully boring. Like, it was a boring book, and the writing was so insufferable. Like, I really want to restate that specifically the protagonist, who's like the only perspective that we get in this book, or at least that I got, there might have been more, and I just didn't read that far. But the only perspective that I got when I read up to where I stopped, page 87, was of the protagonist. And I don't think we know her name. Like, if we do, then I wasn't paying attention enough. Like, it didn't matter to me. And she's so annoying. I mentioned that it goes back and forth from, like, humor and, like, this introspective inner dialogue, but none of it felt earned. First of all, like I already said, it's not funny. Like, it might be funny to some people, like, if you're a millennial, maybe, like, it's funny to you, but that's not me, right? So this book's not gonna be funny if you're just using these, like... It was almost like the humor that she did, like I already mentioned, like, the parentheticals that she did, it was almost like she was, like, doing asides, like... Let's see if I can find an example. The book's right here. This one's fun. So, it goes, I wake up at noon and I'm ready to go back to sleep. When I'm not visiting my father, all I want to do is sleep. I've always loved a nap. Parentheses, depression, end parenthesis. But now I have to do a full-on performance anxiety about staying awake. Like, obviously humor is subjective. If you find that funny, more power to you, right? I found it so painfully unfunny. I was like, you don't need to be doing these asides to explain to me why you like taking naps all the time. Like, I like taking naps all the time, too. Yes, I also have a mood disorder. But, like, it's not something worth remarking on. If you like to sleep, that's fine. Put that in the book. But you don't have to try and make it funny by saying, I have depression. Isn't that relatable? Like, anyways, I have apparently a lot more heated feelings about this than I thought I did. I just thought it wasn't funny, and because that humor was tried to use so much throughout, it made the reading experience, like, near impossible, clearly, because I stopped reading it. But then, that's not even the, like, because the other part is, like, the introspective part, which I will see if I can't. The book's right here. Since my husband got sick, my words don't mean what they are supposed to mean. I can't say exactly what I'm thinking, so I use words that signify kindness as substitutes for more complex feelings. A multiplicity of meanings underlies the phrase, I love you, which I say at least 9 times a day. The phrase can mean anything from, I'm sorry you're suffering, to please stop talking. Right? So already, like, girl, you did not have to say multiplicity. I don't care that you're using big words, but it just seems like she was packing so much into that one... Is that one sentence? Probably not, but that one paragraph where she was trying, like, to say, you guys, look at this. Look at all the big words I use. That's the vibe that I got from it, at least. Yeah. I already said I didn't like this book. I don't have a lot more to say on it because I DNF'd. Like, I disliked this book so much that I didn't keep reading it. I haven't unhauled it yet, so who knows, I might pick it up again. But as it stands right now, yeah. Chances are probably I will not. I'll probably unhaul it at the end of the year. Put it in the little free library, and someone else can enjoy it, hopefully, or they can hate it as much as I did. Last book I read, as I put a cheese curd in my mouth. Last book I read was Brat. The last book I read was Brat, and controversially, this might be my favorite read of the pick that I did. Like, I liked all the other books, except for Death Valley, clearly. But this one was just so... I don't know. It was right up my alley. It was super fast-paced and very, like, approachable. Like, it wasn't, like, super heady. I mentioned earlier in, like, my very first, like, wrap-up that it was, like, kind of, like... I think I said staccato-y. The sentences were short, paragraphs were short, chapters were short, like, staccato-y in that sense. And it was, like, very literalistic, and those are two things that I very much appreciate when I read. It was, like, I don't know if, it's not like, okay, so it was funny, kind of, like, there were moments that were funny. I wouldn't say this is, like, a humorous novel. It had, like, a very dry British humor scattered throughout. Some of the humor was not all that tasteful, but I think the reader was supposed to understand that and be like, yeah, this isn't meant to be tasteful. The symbolism, like, this book is heavy on the symbolism, but it's not, like, heavy or, like, heady. And it worked seamlessly into the story. Like, you could tell that it's meant to be there. Like, it's not just, like, this person wanted to be, like, really metaphorical. It was, like, key to the story, and it was done really well, in my opinion. If you like horror, I would recommend this one. I wouldn't say it's all that, like, quote-unquote scary. Like, it's not like one of those extreme horrors. But it was, like, unsettling at points. I am very happy that I read this one, and I'm happy that I enjoyed it. It's from a debut author, so that made me really... I was very satisfied with this one. Real quick, before I wrap up, I'm going to do a little... my TBR for August. So first we have Emma. This is a copy that I got from my mom. And it's on my TBR for 2024. And I was like, I actually need to read this one if I want to get it done by the end of the year. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep putting off, and I won't do it. I don't read a lot of classic literature because I don't. It's not that I don't like it. It's just that it's easier for me to pick up a contemporary piece of literature than it is a classic piece of literature. Next is an anthology. It's 19 Claws and a Blackbird. This one just looks interesting. I got this one at Walmart because sometimes when I'm shopping at Walmart and I go down the book aisle, I can't help but buy books. So that's always fun. But yeah, I saw the cover of this one and I thought it was really beautiful, and I liked the title of it. And it's also an anthology, and I really like anthologies, like just a book of short stories. So then we have She Is Haunting. I got this one also at Walmart. And this one's young adult, I think. Oh no, She Is a Haunting. That's what it's called, not She Is Haunting. Anyways, the freaking price tag from Walmart's on it. I don't know why I picked this one up. I think I picked it up because I wanted to buy books, and then this one was there. So I got this one, and it looks interesting enough. It's a young adult. Did I say that already? Which I don't read a ton of young adult, but it looks good enough. I think it's like a young adult horror, young adult thriller, something like that. So we'll see. The First Lie Wins. This one's like brand new. Just came out this year. Love thrillers. Excited to read this one. Got this one at a Little Free Library, and I was so excited to see it. I was like, what? Someone put a brand new book in the Little Free Library. Mind you, I do that all the time. Because whenever I pick up a book and I don't like it, I just bring it to the Little Free Library. So I hope that's the reaction other people have when they find books that I donated in the Little Free Library. I hope they're like, seriously, this book's in the Little Free Library? But most of my books are annotated, so... This one we have is The Blade Between. I got this at the Dollar Tree. Yeah, the Dollar Tree. I think this one's also a thriller. I was going to give this to one of my coworkers for a birthday present, but she's homophobic, and the main character of this is gay. So I was like, ooh, she probably wouldn't like that. So I kept it, and now I'm going to read it, and if I like it, then I'll keep it, and if I don't, then I'll donate it. That's all for this video. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe. You can even comment. That would be interesting if you left me a comment. Follow me on Goodreads. Follow me on Letterboxd. Follow my Substack, even though I don't ever post there. What else do I have to plug? I guess nothing. I guess that's it. Alrighty. Well, ta-ta.